right, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to Success Zone, Monday morning edition. And what is this? Election Eve. So make sure you guys, make sure everybody votes, no matter what. Take your right and get out there and vote. Pass it down to your friends. You want to make sure that everybody goes out there and does their American duty. You can see I have my USA shirt on, my USA hat. Anyway, all right. So hope you guys had a great weekend. We've had a very, very, very busy weekend, and this week is going to be very busy as we get ready to let everybody know what we will be doing into the future. So you will be notified when we're going to have our little sneak preview. So for those people that may be interested in understanding what we're going to do, stay tuned. So as we always do, let's get into the training this morning. And, the training today, as you can see on your slide, is success in network marketing. I was thinking about it over the weekend. You look at people who climb to the top ranks of any company they go to, and you got people that really just I would say struggle. And when I say struggle, it's because you got to understand there's two types of trainings in our industry, and you need both to succeed in multi-level marketing. And when I say multi-level marketing, I always make this point. If you look at any business needs certain skills in order to succeed. Of course, you got to have a burning desire, right? You got to want to make it happen. And you have to have the perseverance. You got to be willing. You got to be teachable, right? You got to do what most people will never, ever dream of doing because you got to go through your own fear. But once you really break it down, if you're going to form a company or form a culture, because you have to understand whether you're the owner of a company or whether you're a distributor of a company, you're doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing as the owner. What's the owner doing? Okay, the owner of a network marketing company is looking for people that are going to what? Help him build a base. Well, if you're not the owner, you're just a distributor, what are you doing? You're looking for people that are going to help you build your base. You're just building your base within the company. It's the same thing. We're all looking for the same thing. If you look at any traditional business, every business owner is looking for a customer that wants or needs his service. And then he wants to keep that customer doing what? Reordering the product. So when we say multi-level marketing, no, you need both to succeed in business in general. Everybody does. So what I want to talk about is really those two skill sets. If you're like so many in the industry, right, you're doing the program exactly as you were taught, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And every company, I believe, that's going to succeed has to have some very simple things. Now listen, the average person can say, I can do. Because you can't take 26 years and insert it into a brand new person. So when you're doing a presentation or you're introducing people to look at your company, you're going to go out there and make sure everything you do is being perceived that they can do it. You want to get people active immediately. And this is where I really talk about it's an earn as you learn program for everybody. So yes, you got your simple steps, right? Get your website, read your welcome letter, right? Set up your social media, make your list, whatever those things are. And let me share with you, they're usually pretty much the same in every company. And you want to get people out there doing something right away. Now, got it. But these people usually aren't getting the same results as the big leaders in the company. You ever been here? No matter how hard you try, it's just you're not there yet. Well, we understand that these people that climb to these top ranks have a certain skill set. And yes, they're teaching the masses to do some very simple things. And we think, okay, that because we're not getting the results of the top leaders, it's a sign that this industry is not something we should pursue. And I'm here to tell you, anybody can climb to the top ranks of their company. Anybody can go out there and start making 5 figures a month. But to go from 5 figures a month, you know what 5 figures is, right? It's $10,000 a month or above, up to $100,000 a month. Okay, but to get to those points, okay, you have to make sure, okay, that you are running the race. So you got to understand, what are they doing that you're not? Have you ever said that to yourself? Well, first of all, listen, you can't underestimate, okay, the time that you put into your business. And I've talked about this a lot, but I want to set this up today. It's when you make that initial decision, to make that initial decision that you're going to do this until you do it. It's not like you have another alternative. So those top earners, because we're not going to talk about this in this particular slide presentation, these top people have burnt the boat. There's no other choice. They have to make it work. And I remember vividly, right, when I was first about to go full-time in the industry, right, the mentor I usually talk about, I said to him, I was getting all geared up to finally say, listen, I'm going all in. And I was in somebody's kitchen, and he walked by, and I called him over. I said, listen, I'm going full time. And you know what he said to me? He said, now you'll have to make it work. And he kind of walked away. Just these little messages. He goes, now you have to make it work. In other words, when you have no other choice, it's amazing. It's amazing what you will do when you have to make something work. So I will say, these top people, they're not doing it, right, spare time, part-time. They're not sticking their toe in. They're jumping all in, and whatever the industry hands them, they have no choice but to go through it. And you guys know what I always talk about. If you have another choice, then you don't have to make it work. And I'm not saying everybody here needs to burn the boat. I'm just telling you the characteristics of people, right, that really usually make the big dollars. So what you need to know, there's 2 kinds of training in this industry, right? There's skill training, right? And then there's the type of training that most people never get. And I was always brought in that, yes, you need the skill training, but the emphasis was on the other type of training, which is basically the U training. And that's why I've always had some type of a platform, because I understood how important it was for me and Lisa. So to reach your goals in this industry, you need both kinds of training. Okay, now what are they? Well, the first kind of training is what you've all been exposed to. It's what every company has. It's system training. Right? System training is taught all the time in our industry. In fact, this is probably the type of training you've received. It's right. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4. And gosh knows, okay? Everybody knows that it is so important to have this type of training. And I'm going to say it again. The reason why is because you got to make sure the average person who is signing up could start doing something that could warrant a result. That's why. Okay? But it could be short-lived, because by going out there and doing some very simple things, right, they could get some result which keeps them in the game. Right? Remember the value of training? Most people have 30, 60, 90, maximum 120 days before they're determining to quit or keep going. And most people stop because the system training didn't produce the type of results they were looking for. Now that's a whole nother can of worms. That goes back to realistic expectations. That goes back to how you brought the person in. Remember the kitchen table time? What are you looking to accomplish? Okay, what are you willing to put into this? Well, I'm willing to put in 2 hours a week. Well, then you could forget about making $10,000 a month. That has to be set up in the beginning. So there's many different aspects to this, so they don't have the unrealistic expectations. But the second type of training is skill training. And I'll tell you, okay, and I've been out there for a long period of time. It's a training rarely taught in our industry. And if it's taught, a lot of times it's not taught very well. Because a lot of people, right, it's like a factory. And yes, you should never take your eye off the recruiting ball. But once you recruit enough people and you've identified some leadership, you got to give those people more. And now more than ever, you have these platforms. Right, you have people that are doing it online. You got Eric Worre, who does a big event on skill training, right? But I'm talking about having a system that people start to really, really, really put forth the effort that they need to obtain the skill training. Okay, so it takes both systems, system and skill, right, to make your business work. So I'd like to call this the Earn As You Learn program. Earn as you learn. So if I have a very simple system training, I could go out there and do some simple things. And as I go out there and start to talk to people, I got to have the skill training to hold me in. So I don't think everything that I'm doing is only because of me. I understand it's a process. So system training is the sequence or steps that you use to introduce your prospect to your company or your products. You're all familiar with it, right? And the sequence might be, and probably is, you're calling and inviting a prospect to a webinar. Maybe you're getting them a video, right? You're in social media. Maybe then you call the prospect, invite them to a 3-way call with the upline sponsor. You invite the person to take a look at the company's website or whatever you have, right? The point is, system training is a sequence of steps that allow you to follow or introduce your prospects to the company or products very simply. Very simple. All I have to do, and this is what we ask every new person, is please use your credibility to get the information into your contact base. And the message we all said, let the system do the heavy lifting. Right? Have you guys ever heard that one? Now, is it true? Of course it is. I've seen people who know nothing about the industry, But because of their contact base and inserting a simple video, they got some traction. But once you have the traction, right now, you got to obtain the skill set needed to hold them in. So chances are when you sign up in the business, you receive plenty of this type of training. Right? It's the most taught system in our industry. Do this, do that. Love it. But now the skill training is very, very different from system training. And the skill training, first of all, forces you to look at you. And that's the toughest thing to do, right? And we emphasize that a lot on Success Zone. But let me tell you what it is, okay? Skill training is what makes you effective in any system. Now, what does it have to do with? It has to do with your word choices. It has to do with your attitude, right? When you're going out there and doing the system training. It has to do with manners and how you come across during the conversation, right? Are you turning people off? Are you turning people on? It's all about knowing how to listen and be sincerely interested in what your prospect has to say. And we're going to talk about this, okay? It has everything to do with knowing how to show respect for your prospect, no matter what. See, a lot of times we become defensive, especially if we're sensing any type of a pushback. And when you become defensive and you start with the speechless babbling and you're not really listening, is when the average person loses the ability to get your information into that person's hands. See, skill training develops your ability to correctly communicate with your prospect. And you got to know what moves the prospect, right? And this is where you got to understand you. When you understand you, and you understand then how to communicate with others. You all understand what turns you on or turns you off about a person, right? I know what I do. I know when someone's really listening. I know when somebody isn't. I know when someone is distracted. I know when they're not. I know when someone's trying to manufacture a good attitude versus having one. I know etiquette. So how do you think we've gotten to that point? Because we've done it with tens of thousands of people. So once you have the skills, you can apply them to any type of system training. Any type. So when you look at it, let's start, right? And here's an example of the skill training. Number one, skill attained. The one that most people lack is listening. Why? Because you're so excited. When you're so excited and you've accepted a new opportunity, and this is not bad, it just has to be honed, okay? What I mean by that is you got a brand new person so excited about his comp plan, right? He's released. He's found this inner desire he didn't even know he had anymore. He sparked the entrepreneurial spirit. And now he goes out there, okay, and he wants to tell everybody. And believe me, I much rather have that than someone who does nothing. But what you have to have this person do is really slow down and really start to listen to what the prospect wants. It's a critical skill of the recruiting or sponsoring or sales cycle. Very, very important. Most network marketers don't fully listen. And they miss important cues in the conversation. Clues. There's people out there, when you ask the right questions, the clues are within the answer. And when you're really listening with the right attitude, then those clues will allow you to determine where you take the conversation. They're going to tell you. As a result, this causes the prospects to feel unimportant when you're not really listening. And so this skill set is probably the most important skill set when it comes to every aspect of the business. In other words, right? Remember the balance program? Well, which door do I enter into with the prospect? Well, based on the prospect, I can enter into the product door. I can enter into the opportunity door, right? And we all know it's easier to lead with the product in the beginning because it's something that you could touch, you could feel, it's tangible. You could talk about it. It's here. It's usually in your hand. You have it. The opportunity door is what most people, I believe, want, but it's also sometimes for the new person the most difficult thing to talk about. But when you listen, at least you'll understand what the shot is. You'll know what door to go into. Right? When we start our new project, okay, I know without a doubt we're going to have a product that I think is universal. That'll always meet the test of time. It's not going to be a fad, and it's going to be maybe here today, gone tomorrow. Okay, it's something everybody can count on. So I know I'm going to have a great product. But I'm also going to be giving people an opportunity to take this product and go out there and earn some money with it. But I got to first, right, like everybody else has to do, I got to start putting together and figuring out, okay, what the person's looking for. And that's where the listening comes in. So when you fully use these listening skills, it can create an entirely different outcome of your prospect and selling conversations. But I want to go through some things to consider as you go out there and talk to people. Listening point number one. Never cut off or start speaking while your prospect is telling you something. You shot yourself in the foot here. Doing this makes the prospect feel like what you have to say is way more important than what they are telling you. Okay, another reason why somebody might do this, you believe you know where they're going with the conversation. And instead of listening fully to what they're about to say, you want to take the conversation back to where you want to take it. You don't know what's going to come out of their mouth. You don't know what clue they may throw you. Have you ever heard the saying, right? They're throwing you a softball, you got to hit it. Well, who can't hit a softball? It's coming to you very slowly, it's really big, and they're saying, here, hit it. In other words, here's my clues. Here's what I'm looking for. Here's what's lacking in my life. Please help me. And you got the bat, and you got the opportunity. But yet you don't let the person relay what they want. You know what happens when they start to do this? Do you know what happens when people start to really tell you where they are? Do you think they might be building a bond with you, a rapport? Do you think there might be some trust coming through? Now, do you think it's easier to maybe lead somebody that trusts you because you're listening versus someone who doesn't? Simple things. Simple things. But remember, we got this excited garden hose. You ever turn on a garden hose and it just goes like this, right? All over the place? That's how new distributors are. Okay, I got to grab the garden hose and go, listen, stop, slow down. These are the skill sets. Number two, when your prospect is sharing something with you, and I just kind of touched on this, do not anticipate the next thing they are going to say. Instead, watch. Really stay focused on what they are sharing with you. How? Okay, watch. Do you see me looking into the camera? Your eyes should never be off the prospect. They shouldn't be darting around like this, looking at who's walking by, right? Who's listening, or you're doing this while they're talking. You're on your phone, right? In other words, what you're saying to me is not important. All distractions. No. I'm focused here. My eyes are not going to leave your eyes. I'm really listening. I'm really starting to want to find out, what are your clues? What's coming out? What isn't being said? This right here draws the person close. Sometimes they'll get uncomfortable because you are listening so intently. People aren't, especially in today's society, we're distracted by this. We're distracted by everything. And very rarely do people give people their full attention. You know how powerful you become when this goes and says, listen, and you just put that, you make it a point to put it in your pocket. And now you're having a conversation. Watch how maybe they start to get uncomfortable and they start picking up their phone. Okay, these are the things, these little things. And guess what? When you really do this, you become memorable. Wow. And when you do your follow-up, they remember you. When you follow up 30 days from now, right? Because maybe they weren't interested and you call them, they'll remember the conversation. I remember conversations with certain people. Why is it I don't remember some conversations from other people? They didn't make an impact on me. You need to make an impact on people. And we think we make the biggest impact by talking. No, we make the biggest impact by listening. That's where the impact is. People love to talk. You all know my saying, let them. Please stop cutting them off. Let them go. Let them go. They'll tell you everything. And this is when you start to then go, okay, I got all the ammunition. It's like you're a detective. And they give you the clues. Here's the knife. Look, here's the blood. Okay, there's the body. You don't have to solve anything. They gave you everything. They'll tell you how they did it. Well, that's the same thing you're doing here with the new prospect. Right? Why is it you are where you are in your life? And they start to tell you. This happened, that happened, got divorced, right? This job, that job. They're giving you the whole thing. They're giving you the crime scene. And they're saying, here, please help me solve my problem. And you're saying, okay, I have the way to help you. But you got to let them. Right? Do you ever see how detectives work when they catch the suspect and they bring him into the dark room with the light on him? And they just let their whole thing, no matter how long it takes, get them to talk. Same thing. Jeff, bad analogy. I don't know. It's the first thing that came to my mind. Because I think everybody has a crime scene in their life. And the crime is they haven't reached their full potential. That's the crime. They want more. Well, let's find out why you don't have more. You have the answer. That's the deal. Do not worry. Number 3, listening point number 3. Do not worry about or think about what you're going to say next when the prospect is talking. Be present. I just showed you that. Whatever you need to say will come naturally when you listen, when you're listening to what isn't being said. So many clues here. And the best way to do it, guys, is listen. Right? Asking the right question, being present. Like I said, all those different tips I just gave you, put the phone away. Don't take your eyes off the prospect. Nod when they're talking. Right? Here's another thing sometimes I do. Someone starts to tell me something, I want to let them know I'm really listening. And I'll say something, maybe I'll say, so wait, hang on a second. What did you just say? What did you just say? You said, and I'll make them repeat it. Because that really meant something to me. And this is sincere. It's not like it's manufactured. Remember, you can't manufacture really caring about somebody and their story. Their story can turn into your opportunity. Their story is going to compel them and hopefully make a decision to change. But how many times do you think people really tell their story every day? How many times do people really listen to each other every day? This is what is so important. People usually just go through the motions. They don't have deep conversations. Have one. Watch how you become the person that could really make a difference in their life. Number 4, do not be distracted by other things that are going around you while your prospect is talking. See, I jumped the gun on all this. You run the risk of missing an important detail when you let your mind wander. Let me ask you a question. When you're talking to somebody, don't you know when they're really listening and when their mind is wandering? I do. Okay, then don't you think they'll be able to detect that in you? Can't hide that stuff. It's important. So don't be distracted. So the question is, can you see the difference between system training and skill training? Two different things. So now what you have to do is you got to take the skill and apply it to the system that you have. Both are essential. You have to know what to say and do, which is system, and you have to know how to say it and how to listen, which is the skill. And I promise you, the big leaders in your company mastered the skill of listening long ago. And the system works great for, I still will leverage the system. But when it comes to the people business, when it comes to really, really wanting to sponsor the right people, okay, I could do the same thing. So 2 types of training. You need both to succeed. Once you have the skills, you can apply them to any type of system training. So here's an assignment. Here's an assignment, okay? Practice your listening skills in 3 different conversations. And guys, it's not just calling people and throwing up all over them about your opportunity. How about just reconnecting? Why don't you make it a point this week to reconnect with 3 people? And during the conversation, it's all about them. Finding really all about them. What's going on in their life? Be attentive to the 4 listening points shared to you in this training. Were you able to have a conversation without violating those important points? Remember the points? Listening, good attitude, not being distracted. Last night, Lisa got a text from an old high school friend. And they were going back and forth. Hasn't seen her in years. And she said, well, let's reconnect today. Now, I know how that conversation is going to go. It'll be a full hour about her. But Lisa's going to understand eventually it's going to come back around to her. And she'll start to tell her about our kids, what our kids are doing, what we've been doing, the industry we're in. And she'll throw out some stuff based on what she was told. But it's a conversation with no agenda. See, sometimes people see us coming a mile away. They see the dollar signs in our eyes. They believe there are opportunity. No, no, no. Have a conversation. This is your assignment with 3 people. Reconnect with 3 people this week. And one final request. Now that you are aware of these types of training, take responsibility for it. Everything we do is the responsibility is on us. It's our responsibility every day to have our system. It's our responsibility every day to put people in our funnel. That's what we do, correct? But this is where, remember how I said you got to have fun with this? When you take the agenda out of it, you'll start to find out a lot about people. You'll know the shot. When you're always talking, you never know the shot. You just start talking about your product. Well, maybe that's not the shot. You might just talk about the opportunity. Maybe that's not the shot. Maybe the shot is I just want to be heard. I just want to be friends. And we have this one-sided agenda. And like I said, guys, this is where you start to get better. And nothing will bring you closer to your goals than learning and developing the skills you need to make the system training work. Nothing. Your goals are worth it, okay? But here's the thing, and we're going to talk about this week, is goal setting, right? How do you set a goal, right? A realistic goal that gets you excited enough to want to go out there and become a professional in the industry. What is it? But you see, it starts with understanding what you're looking for. Because if you know what you're looking for, hang on a second. Yeah, when you know what you're looking for, okay, I promise you, you will find it. A lot of people in our industry, okay, they go all over the place. They really don't know what they're looking for, and they never put their roots down. See, I want to create something where people go, you know what? I could put my roots here. That's what I was always looking for. I happened to find that day one when we were with the company 15 years. There were roots there, right? Because the only way to get something to grow is you got to plant the seed and grow the roots. And this is what we're going to try to create, guys. And we're going to be introducing what we're going to be doing, okay? And I want to go out on a limb here, but you guys know, I'll tell you either way. But this coming up Sunday night is, I believe, is going to be our first sneak preview. I'll let you know on Wednesday, okay? But, you know, everybody that wants to know and you want to invite people to that, it's just going to be a sneak preview of what we're going to be launching, okay? And this is something that we've been very excited about being able to put together the right systems with the right product, with the right leadership. And I know you've heard this a lot, okay? But I want you guys to know that we really believe, okay, that the company that we are forming is going to be something everybody can participate in. And what we're going to look for are really for the people that are going to be in it to do it, right? To have the confidence. And we tried to show the consistency, right, by being on the success zone and our diamond zones. I think you build the right type of culture with consistency and communication and people development. The rest comes. The money comes if you have those things in place. And those are the things that are going to be non-negotiable in what we're going to be putting together. Okay? It's not always going to be about the shining new product, right? Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. This is where the next big thing is. But they lack right? The foundation that's going to take the business to the next level, right? The right products with the right opportunity, with the right training, right? You know the foundation training, all of you. Well, that's what we want to put together. And I want to insert the right people into the foundation and the right culture. Your product only goes so far. The right culture will take you around the world because people feel comfortable with that. They feel proud to go out there and not just talk about the product and the comp plan, which is what everybody else talks about. How about the right culture and the right leadership so we could all grow together? What's that worth? So I think we all put the emphasis on the same thing over and over again. My product has double-blind studies. Does your product have the right culture? Right? Those are the things that people look for. And that's what keeps people in. That's the skills training. Because products come and go. Products will come and go in the company that we're forming. Well, we'll be adding products. If a product's not moving, we'll drop in another one. Why? Because that's called business. That's what business is all. They're always bobbing and weaving. What's the market need? Let's put that product in. Why can you do that? Because the culture's right. People don't jump because the compensation plan or the product's not the same. Who cares? Do I trust in the leadership? Do I trust in the system? Is this something I could see myself in for 10, 15 years? See, that's what we want to create. So guys, you know I appreciate you. Okay, it's 7:42, and we'll be making some announcements on the call on Wednesday. So start making your list, okay, and we're going to get people some information here really quick. Appreciate all of you. Thanks, guys.